logs are totally empty except for one 517 event, you can be pretty sure what happened. So now I'm going to go over here. I just went just a little bit farther. I just show you the actual log in Windows. See what happens to it. So as you can see, I got all kinds of stuff in here where I've been messing around all day. So now we'll go back over here and we'll run the command. It's right up here. It actually used to be a script, and now it's a command. My spelling was a failure that day. Maybe it always is. I won't lie. Anyway, so we'll go back over here, kind of refresh the page. As you can see, under security, I've left a 517 event, but everything else is cleared. So this is a perfect indication that you have been hacked by the Meterpreter. Yeah?
How hard would it be to write in Ruby your own little thing for just like selectively kill all records from this one account or something?
Sure. I mean, you would just have to look at that. You could actually look at the older clear environment script, and you could probably work off of that. It used to be a script, and then it was so, it was so well used that people incorporated it into the basic commands. But it probably wouldn't be that hard to maybe only clear critical errors or anything like that, as long as you know.
We'll get Carlos on that.
As long as you got the syntax correct, you know what I mean, or only clear a user or something like that. So this is going to be injecting a shell into an executable. I didn't want to be too dangerous. When I do this, I like to pull down something that's already running on the system, inject the exe back into it, and send it back up. But for this, what we're going to use is just putty, which is what they use in the Metasploit Unleashed course. And I actually name it something different. So we're going to go over here, and we're going to... what I showed there in the beginning is generally you want to go on a user machine and see what kind of processes are running. We're just going to pretend that this victim had putty. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to replace his putty with our putty indirectly, and then next time he executes it, we'll get a reverse shell. I tried this with a lot of different programs. It works with some. Like I said, it didn't work with Skype. It didn't work with Trillion. It worked with the alg.exe service. There's a couple it does. It's really trial and error. Let me stop this. So.
Yeah, I had problems getting it to work with Notepad. I could get it to actually copy the metadata, but Notepad would not be functioning as it should have been.
Right, and that's the thing is that whenever you want to do this, you really want to test this out at home and make sure that your exe is actually functioning. When I did it with Skype, it did inject the exe, but the Skype would not function. It would open the shell, but it would never open Skype. Here we are back at MSF payload, the same as we've been doing into MSF encode, but instead at this point we want to use the K option, which stipulates to use the template that we are defining with the X option. So /root.putty.exe is my original executable, and K tells it to use that template and just inject my exe into it, and then my output file is going to be putty_hack.exe. Now, generally, I would just call it putty.exe so that it would replace the original, but we're trying to err on the good side here, so we're going to do it this way just for a demo. We're going to encode it 6 times. Like I said, nowadays you want to look into multiple encoding. I know we've gone over some of this before, but the way I learned it is just to do it over and over and over again. Really the only way to learn some of this stuff. So now, this is what Adrian showed a little bit before. This is the MSF command line. I just did this so I didn't make any typos. I think I was mad about all those other ones I made. But anyway, so we can actually script this. It's just a complete line. As you can see, we set our payload encoder, our local host, our local port. export, and then the actual payload at the end. And so we'll just execute. Oh, whoops. Hold on. Let me just go back. That one's a good one. Which one? Let me just see if I can find the video here. Sorry. Oh, that's not even the right video. Sorry. Oh, here it is. All right. Sorry about that. So anyway, as you can see, we start the multi-handler, give it the payload. All right. So over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload that file. Just so everyone can see what I'm talking about, see how I got the double slashes between the Windows directories of where I want to upload it to. For some reason, Meterpreter needs that, otherwise it sees them as escapes. I've had some success with quotes, but the double slashes always work. So I'm just going to put it on the desktop. Not very stealthy, but I just want to execute it for the... So I successfully uploaded it. Then I believe I go over here to my XP box. So there's my putty hacked. I'm going to start it. As you can see, it works just like normal. The user has no idea what's really going on. And if I go over here, you can see that I have a Meterpreter session open and it connected right back to me. I'm going to migrate over to another process. Because the user is eventually going to close putty, which is why I migrate over to Explorer. It's kind of a perfect example, and I still have my shell. All right, let me go back to the... okay. Just a couple more of these. All right, so capturing network data. This is fairly new, actually. Well, not really that new, but a little bit. So in this situation, we can start a sniffer on the target network, and we can save all the data we need in a PCAP file for later analysis. So we're going to use our sniffer. We've got to load the extension. It's got its own set of commands down here. You need to look at the sniffer interfaces and see what you got available. Some systems, of course, will have more than others, depending on your access and depending on how you're in there. So, as you can see, I have a VMware Ethernet adapter. So I'm going to start the sniffer. And like I said, generally you would want to migrate to a more legitimate process because you would want to let this run for quite some time. So I've started my capture. So some time passes. Oh, that was cool. I didn't think you.
It's like that movie Hackers.
That's what I was going for. Anyway, so this is later on.
You don't look like Angelina Jolie.
You can actually do sniffer stats, and you can make sure that you have a correct amount of data. Obviously, I was lazy and only run for like 10 minutes. But you could let this run for hours, days. The problem with letting it run for days is you actually have to download the file. So when you dump it to your local directory, temp/xp capture.cap. see how it downloads the file, and then stop the sniffer, and you can open up the data file with whatever your favorite thing is. I think I open it with Wireshark here, but you can use Chaos Reader. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can use to open up the cap file. There's my file. As you can see, I don't use Wireshark much, at least on this system. Anyway, so there's our capture from the system. This can be really useful for a variety of different reasons. Getting subnets, protocols, all that kind of stuff for further exploiting the system. All right, so there are a bunch of topics from Meterpreter that I didn't cover. I think Dave's going to try and do a couple of them. With his key logging, the key logging is similar to the sniffer that I just showed. You basically start the key logger, stop the key logger, dump down the data. I don't want to do too many of the same things. Pivoting I didn't cover, but Pwrcycle showed that really well. I didn't cover Metasploit as a payload, which is actually really cool, but H.D. Moore told me I did get it going, but it was really slow, and so what that is they've now created some really small versions that are packed with Sigwin and everything of Metasploit, and so you can actually encode and pack a really small version of Metasploit, and you can send it to the machine, and then you can start it up MSF console, and then you're on that machine, and you can further attack more machines, and you have all the exploits available to you. Writing Meterpreter scripts I didn't cover. That would be a whole hour by itself. Incognito I didn't cover. I think Dave might look at that. That's session and token impersonation. The timestamp I didn't cover, and the screen capture Adrian covered. Some of the useful links that I got are Metasploit.com, of course, the Offensive Security Metasploit Unleashed, Carlos, Dark Operator's website, Mubix's website, Room 362, Egypt's blog, and then Carl Onage. Is that Chris Pageant's site? I think. Anyway, but so those are all good Metasploit sites. Also, like Elliot was saying, if you want to learn more about this kind of stuff, the offensive security classes are the absolute best for this type of work. Some Metasploit ninjas that you can follow on Twitter: H.D. Moore, Egypt, Mubix, Chris Gates, Dave over here, and Carlos Perez. And if you have any questions, kind of like I said earlier, try harder. That's all I got. Does anybody have a real question?
Martin, do you are you doing the Metasploit Express thing?
Oh crap! I totally forgot. Hold on. Does everyone want to see Metasploit Express real quick?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, do we have any confirmation on that deal?
Okay. Can y'all just have to give me like 2 seconds? I tell you what, if anybody does not let me get my copies out.
Would that set off an alarm?
If anybody does not want a computer I'm just going to scan the subnet just to show everybody. If anybody does not want their computer scanned, just unplug it real quick, for fast. So Metasploit Express works in Windows, Linux.